Hey everyone, it's Lisa Mears here, and today I'm so excited to be able to share with you the Stamps of Life Club products for December of 2023. And after I share with you these products, I will show you my design process for the cards that I've made with these products. So this month's Stamp and Die Hard Club set is called Chocolate Strawberries to Stamp, and here's the inspiration card. Here's a look at the stamp set. You get 4 chocolate dipped strawberries. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the package here because it's a little bit easier to see without all of that plastic. But you can see the chocolate dipped strawberries at the bottom. There's also some stamps for drizzle and little toppings there, and some sentiments that say wishing you a berry sweet and chocolatey day, wishing you a berrylicious birthday. You are so berry awesome. May your day be dipped in deliciousness. And then there's some smaller stamps at the bottom that say you are berry sweet. There's also a stamp that says so very on the right hand side. So you could say you are so very sweet. So if you are a member of the Stamps of Life Stamp Club, you will get this stamp set this month. But if you're a member of the Die Hard Club, you'll get the stamp set plus the corresponding die set, and it looks just like this. So you get the dies to cut it out. Now this month there is a freebie that the Stamps of Life is including. It is a stencil, so if you don't like to color, this stencil will come in handy because you can just align it over top of your stamp and you can use your inks to color them up. So all of those strawberries there have a matching stencil that you can use to ink them up. So let's take a look at the card kit of the month for December. This card kit is called Love You More, and it is perfect for Valentine's Day coming up. There's lots of reds and pinks in this collection. It is so pretty. So just like with every card kit, the Stamps of Life always gives you a storage envelope that you can use to store your cardstock or your card kit contents, as well as a pack of A2 size envelopes for your completed cards. And let's take a look at the cardstock colors. So you do get 12 sheets of 8.5 by 11-inch cardstock. So you get cranberry, which is the darker red, as well as strawberry, which is the brighter red. There's also 2 browns. There's chocolate and there is twig. You also get guava, which is a hot pink, and there's a lighter pink, which is bubblegum. You also get green apple, pixie, and 4 sheets of the powdered sugar, which is the white cardstock. And here is a look at the pattern paper pad for this month. This is the Love You More collection. So of course you get your chocolate dipped strawberries. There are some browns there, and you also get a couple of pages of the strawberries that you can use the corresponding dies to cut out. So if you are a member of the Die Hard Club, you will have the dies to cut these strawberries out. However, that large plate of strawberries is another die set, which is an additional purchase. So if you happen to have the more chocolate strawberries to stamp, you will have the die to cut that one out. However, if you don't have that additional die set, you can always just use your scissors and fussy cut out that plate of strawberries, which is exactly what I plan to do. So you can see there are lots of chocolate dipped strawberries in this paper pad, and then the opposite pages are most of the time a tone-on-tone pattern. You also get some hearts here. There's some solids in this pack. There are some smaller chocolate dipped strawberries, and there's also some pages that have the words "Love You More." You can even, if you needed more strawberries, you can even use your scissors and fussy cut out some of those strawberries that are in the paper pad. There's some stripes in there and some more tone on tone. So that is your pattern paper pad for this month. Also included in the card kit is an A1 chocolate strawberry folded die set, which you can use this as an A1 shaped card, or you can include it on the front of an A2 size card. And there is a word die in there that says yum. In addition, you get a pack of chocolate covered strawberry stickers that you can include those on your cards. You also get some gold enamel dots, as well as some gold heart stickers and some red heart embellishments. You get the Love You More word die, so it looks just like what you see here in the paper pad. And you also get some brown ribbon. And there's another freebie included. So this one I believe is just part of the card kit. So this is a word die that says friends. And lastly, there is this little postcard. It has the plate of strawberries on there, and it says you can cut off at the dash line and use this on an A2 card. And on the back, which I'm not going to share with you, is an exclusive discount code for card kit members only, and that's to spend in the Stamps of Life store. So as you can see, there's so many amazing products in this month's club products. If you are interested in joining a Stamps of Life club, I will have my club affiliate link in the description box of this YouTube video. And if you're not a member of any of the clubs but interested in joining or just finding out more, I always appreciate when you click on my link because it does help support me. You can also use my coupon code, which is Lisa Mears, and you'll get 500 bonus club points to spend in the Stamps of Life store. And as always, I will have a coordinating blog post with up-close pictures of the cards that I make today, and you can find that coordinating blog post link in the description box of this YouTube video. So I'm going to start out by die cutting some of the strawberries from the pattern paper pad. I'm just going to be using some of my scrapbook.com mint tape to hold these dies in place when I run them through my die cutting machine. And as I mentioned earlier, that large plate of strawberries, I will just use my scissors to fussy cut that out because I don't have the dies for it. So for my first card, I am bringing in a scallop frame die from Fawn, and I've cut down a piece of the chocolate strawberry pattern paper to 4 inches by 5¼ inches. And then for the scallop frame, I just die cut it out of white cardstock, and I am adding some double-sided adhesive foam to the back of the scalloped frame because I do want it to be popped up on my card panel. I think that's just going to give it a little bit of dimension just by having it popped up. But of course, if you don't like dimension on your cards, you can always, if you have a frame like this, you can always just glue it down directly to that piece of pattern paper. Now, I did think about making this into a shaker card because, anytime you have a frame like this, you could turn it into a shaker card by just adding some acetate behind the frame and then adding the double-sided adhesive foam. But I decided just to keep this really simple. I'm not making a shaker. I just am adding some dimension with the foam, and then I'm going to add a sentiment and some strawberries. So I went ahead and die cut the sentiment Love You More out of some of the red cardstock, and I'm adding it to the shadow that I cut out of white cardstock. And then I'm going to add some dimension to pop this up as well. And then I'm going to be bringing in 2 of the chocolate dipped strawberries, and I'm going to add them in the bottom right hand corner of this card. So I'm going to glue the strawberries together first. And part of the strawberries will be glued to the frame, and the other part of the strawberries will be adhered to the card. So I'm going to put some double-sided adhesive foam on the left side of the strawberries because those will need to be raised up in order for them to lay flat on that card panel. And then on the very right side, I'll adhere some glue and press that down onto that scalloped frame. So this was a pretty simple card. If you happen not to have a scallop frame, you could take two rectangle dies and layer them together to cut out just a straight edged frame, and that will do the same thing and give you kind of the same look but without the scallop. For my next card, I'm using a piece of the pink pattern paper that I cut to 5¼ by 4, and then I have a piece of the striped paper that I cut to 5¼ by 1, and I'm just adding the striped paper across the bottom side of the pink pattern paper. I'm taking some of the ribbon from the card kit and adding some double-sided adhesive tape to the back. And I'm going to adhere this ribbon where the two pieces of pattern paper intersect. So just covering over that line where the papers intersect, and then I'm going to wrap this ribbon around the back of that pattern paper. Next, I'm going to bring in some white cardstock and I'm going to stamp out a sentiment. I'm using some brown ink to match the brown in the strawberries. The sentiment that I'm using says, "You are so berry awesome." I used my paper trimmer to trim that into a rectangle, and I'm going to include it at the top right hand corner of this card. And I chose that sentiment because it was the smallest sentiment that would fit in the space that I needed. So here I'm using the large plate of strawberries, and I'm going to include it right in the center of this card. So by using that stripe pattern paper strip at the very bottom, it helps this plate stay a little bit grounded on the card so that it's not just floating there in the middle of that card. I'm going to go ahead and add a bow. I just put a glue dot behind it and I'm going to add it there to the right of the strawberries. And then I'm going to add some of the gold epoxy dots in the top left-hand corner of my card. I'm going to go ahead and add this to an A2 size white card base. And I'm not finished yet because I do want to decorate these strawberries a little bit more, although you don't have to because they're already decorated for you. I am going to bring in my liquid embellishments, which is the scrapbook.com pops of color, and I'm just going to squeeze some of the pops of color on the strawberry here on the right hand side. This is the raspberry kiss color, which is very bright pink. And I'm not done yet because now I'm going to bring in my Bubblegum Pearl Pops of Color, and I'm just going to trace over the drizzle that's on the middle strawberry. And then I was looking for my white pops of color to add to the left strawberry, but I couldn't find it. It must still be packed with all of my stuff from my move. But I did find some of my Nuvo crystal drops. So if you have any Nuvo crystal drops, these work the same way as the pops of color. So they are a liquid embellishment, and I'm just going to trace over the white drizzle on this strawberry. Now, these are a wet embellishment and they will have to dry flat. It will take a little bit to dry depending on how thick you put them on your cardstock, but once they're dry, they do dry hard and with dimension. Next, I'm going to use the strawberry folded die set and I'm going to make a shaped card. So I took this die and I die cut some white cardstock. When this die is die cut, it does put some cut lines in your die cut piece. So you have the stem, then you have the top part of the strawberry, and then the bottom part of the strawberry. I also die cut some red cardstock, and I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to snip away the top part of the strawberry because that's the only red piece that I'm going to need from this red cardstock. So I'm actually going to cut off the bottom and then cut off the stem and just take this piece here and I'm going to glue it directly onto my white strawberry layer. So the purpose of that white cardstock that I die cut in the shape of the strawberry is just to act as my base piece where I glue all of my other pieces onto. So I also took a piece of the brown cardstock and die cut the bottom portion of that strawberry, and then I glued it on to the white strawberry. And I do the same thing here with green cardstock. I just die cut the top part of that strawberry to get the stem, and then I'll glue it on to the white stem. So again, you can see that the white strawberry is just basically holding all of those die cut pieces together. So there is my strawberry, and now I'm going to add some decorative pieces to the top. So I die cut some pattern paper out of the layering piece for the chocolate part at the bottom. And I'm going to add some of my scrapbook.com dark chocolate ink to the edges just to add some depth to this chocolate. So once I have that inked up, I will go ahead and add that layering piece directly to my strawberry. So if you don't want to include the layering pieces, you don't have to, because you can see that the strawberry, it looks super cute without it. But adding those layering pieces, it does just add a little extra special something to your strawberry. So this die, I grouped these together, and I die cut a piece of Bubblegum. This is the light pink cardstock. And then I took the solid die and die cut a piece of yellow cardstock. And you can see that the yellow cardstock is going to go underneath the pink cardstock. So my goal here is to make those seeds show through those openings. So I wanted to have the yellow seeds on my strawberry. If you wanted to do black, you can die cut that die out of black cardstock, whatever color you want for your seeds, and then just put it in the background. But here I am adding some red ink to the edges of my light pink cardstock just to add some more depth. And once I have that ink added, I'll be able to glue this piece onto that yellow layer. Next, I'll go ahead and glue that piece to the red area of my strawberry. So you can see just by adding these layering pieces, it really makes the strawberry come alive. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some green ink to the stem of the strawberry, and I'm just putting a piece of scrap paper underneath so I don't get ink on the red part of my strawberry. Next, I took the largest die in this set and die cut a piece of the light pink cardstock. So that's my shadow layer, and now I'm going to add my decorated strawberry right to the top of that. So now you can use the strawberry on a card front if you wanted to, but I'm going to turn this into a shaped card by taking a piece of 8.5 by 11 white cardstock, folding it in half, and then taking that same large die that I cut that pink cardstock out of, and I'm just placing that die slightly over the fold in the cardstock. I'll hold it down with some of my mint tape, and I'm just going to snip off the extra white cardstock here because I don't need to run all of that through my die cutting machine. Once I run this through my die cutting machine, I now have my card base, and then that's what I'm going to add the decorated strawberry on top of. So I'm just going to put glue on the front of the card base, and then I'll add my strawberry to the top. So I'm just lining up the edges so that everything is straight and even, and I'll press that down, and now I have a shaped card. So I am going to add a bow to the top, so I'm just adding a glue dot to the back of the bow, and then I'll add it to the top of the strawberry. Now it does come with the word yum as a word die, but I wanted to include the love you more on the inside. So I just die cut the love you more out of red cardstock, and I'm just gluing it on the inside. I'm going to take one of the small strawberry stickers from the card kit. I'm going to trim off a little bit of that white edge on the sticker because I think it's a little bit too much for the space that I am using this in. So I'm just going to trim off some of that and then add the strawberry sticker to the inside of the card. So that is how you make a strawberry shaped card. For my next card, I wanted to use the dies included in the Die Hard Club set and create some strawberries with the dies. So I took one of the dies, so this is the top layering die, and it cuts out 3 different pieces. So just like with the strawberry fold it die that you saw previously, it will cut the 3 different sections of the strawberry, which I cut out of green, red, and pink cardstock. So next I'm going to take some inks. I'm adding some of my pink ink to the edges of the pink cardstock just to add some more depth here. Next I am going to add some red ink to the red cardstock, and then I'll add some green ink to the green cardstock. And then if you look above those 3 die cut pieces, I have a solid white piece that I die cut out of the large shadow layer. So that's the piece that I'm going to add all of these pieces to. So I'm going to start at the very top by adding the stem first, and then I'll work my way down. So I'm just centering it here on this shadow layer. And then once that's in place, I'll add the red strawberry, and I'm just going to fit it in like a puzzle, making sure that there are no gaps or spaces between the 2 pieces. And then I'm going to add the pink piece at the bottom. So this strawberry, instead of it looking like it has the chocolate at the bottom, this is more like a strawberry coating on the bottom of my strawberry. If you wanted it to have a white chocolate coating, you can always die cut that die out of some Ivory cardstock and make it look more like white chocolate. So you can see I did add some of the white gel pen to the seeds. And here I'm doing another strawberry. I'm just putting another one together real quick so you can see again how I did that. I'm going to have a total of 3 strawberries for this card. So I'm just putting 2 together on the camera for you. One of them is going to have the brown for the chocolate bottom, and then the other 2 will have the light pink for the pink bottom. So there's all my strawberries. I went ahead and used my white gel pen and colored up all of those seeds. And now I'm going to take these a step further by adding some sprinkles to the bottom of these chocolate layers. So I'm just adding some glue to the chocolate dipped part of the strawberry, and then adding some clay confetti mix. These are some sprinkles that I have in my stash. I'm adding some red ones to the bottom of the brown strawberry, and then I'm going to add some pink sprinkles to the bottom of the pink strawberries. I took a stitched rectangle die and die cut a piece of white cardstock, and I placed it here in my MISTI with the strawberries laid down exactly how I want them on my card. And now I'm just centering up my sentiment stamp right below it. So I just put the strawberries there for placement, and now I'm going to remove them while I stamp out the sentiment. My sentiment says, "May your day be dipped in deliciousness." So I'll stamp that on to my white cardstock, and then I'll remove that layer from my MISTI. And I'm going to add the 3 strawberries right above that sentiment. So the chocolate one in the middle and the strawberry colored ones on the left and right side. So for this card, I'm going for a very clean and simple look by just having those strawberries at the top of the solid white cardstock, and then I'm bringing in the pattern paper as my layer underneath. So that red is part of the pattern paper pad. It's one of those tone on tone patterns, and I die cut that with a stitched rectangle die, and then I added that to an A2 size white card base. For my next card, I'm using the strawberry stickers that came in the kit, and I die cut a white stitched heart, and I'm adding some of those strawberries to my heart die cut. So my goal here for this card is to make it look like this is a candy box like you would get on Valentine's Day. So you know those heart-shaped candy boxes. And I wanted to have these strawberry stickers inside of this heart-shaped candy box. So I thought these stickers would go perfect. I didn't want to include the die cuts because the die cuts were a little bit too large for the heart die that I had. So I found that these stickers were the perfect size and I was able to get several in one heart. So for my layering piece, I have a scallop heart that I die cut out of some red cardstock, and then I'm just going to layer the white stitched heart right on top. And for my sentiment, I die cut Love You More out of some of the Tone on Tone red pattern paper, and I'm going to offset it on a piece of white cardstock. So when I say offset, I'm not using the shadow layer. Instead, I die cut the Love You More again out of white cardstock, and I just shifted it to the right a little bit so you can see a little bit of that shadow on the left side of those letters. So I have a piece of brown pattern paper that I cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inch, and I'm going to add my sentiment as well as my heart to the top. So the sentiment will go on the lower right hand corner, and then my heart will go on the left side, and I'm going to tilt it just a little bit when I add it to my pattern paper. I used the ribbon in the card kit and tied a bow, and I added a glue dot to the back, and I'm adding the bow to my heart. And then I'll add that to an A2 size white card base, and I'll finish up this card by adding some of the gold enamel dots to the top right hand side and the lower left hand side. And that will complete this card. For my next card, I wanted to show you how to use the free stencil that was included in the Stamp and Die Hard Club kit. So I'm stamping out one of my strawberries onto some white cardstock. I actually cut this white cardstock out of a stitched rectangle die, and then I stamped out the strawberry right inside. So I'm going to use some of my scrapbook.com mint tape to just tape this down to my mat here, just so that this cardstock doesn't move as I'm stenciling it. And I'm just finding the stencil that corresponds to this particular stamp that I stamped out. And once I have it in place, I lined up the stem, and notice that I took my mint tape and I masked off all of the other parts of my stencil, just so that when I add ink to the stem, I don't get that ink in the other openings of the stencil. So I inked that up with some green ink, and now I'm going to remove my mint tape and stencil, and I did notice that I got a little bit there on my cardstock, so I didn't have everything covered exactly as I thought I did. But I'm going to grab my mono sand eraser and just erase that ink from my white cardstock. I love this eraser because it will erase the ink and it will be like it never even existed on this white cardstock. So next I'm going to take my stencil and I'm just going to take a paper towel and wipe off some of this existing ink from my stencil. I don't want to accidentally spread that anywhere else. And then I'm going to line my stencil up, and this time I want to line up the actual strawberry portion, the portion that's going to be red. So once that's lined up, I will take my mint tape again and I will mask off the other parts of the openings of the stencil. So I'll mask off the stem and I'll mask off the chocolate dipped portion at the bottom, and anything surrounding it that I might see has an opening to the cardstock. Next I'll go ahead and take my red ink And I'm just using my finger dauber to ink right over top of that opening. And then I'm going to remove all of that mint tape and remove the stencil. I'll use my paper towel again just to wipe off any of that red ink on the stencil, and then I'm going to line up the bottom part of that strawberry. Same thing, I'm going to go ahead and take my mint tape and cover up any of the openings on that stencil. And then I'm going to take my dark brown ink and ink up the bottom part of that strawberry. And I'm going to put a few layers here because I want this to be really dark. So I'm going to go over this a few times until I get the desired color that I want for this chocolate. Next, I'm going to line up the seeds of the strawberry. And instead of taking some yellow ink, I'm going to use my Sunshine Pops of Color, and I'm going to put some of this Pops of Color onto my palette knife and spread it right in the openings of this stencil. I will scrape up any excess, and then once I have it in all of those little holes, I'll remove the stencil. And this will take a little bit to dry, but because it's such a thin layer, it's not going to take that long at all. And then there is a part of the stencil for the drizzle, but instead of using ink for the drizzle, I'm using my pops of color and just making my own drizzle on this strawberry. Because this is a little bit thicker of an application for the drizzle, it will take a little bit longer to dry, but make sure that it is completely dry before you start handling it and trying to glue it onto the other layers of cardstock. So I die cut the Love You More paper out of another stitched rectangle die, and then I layered that onto a piece of the guava cardstock that I die cut out of a scalloped rectangle. And then my strawberry I layered onto a scalloped rectangle as well, and I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive foam to the back of the small strawberry layer just to pop that up on my card. Now for this card, I'm not adding a sentiment because I feel like the Love You More pattern paper is my sentiment. So the only other thing that I'm going to do for this card is I'm going to add a bow to the top of the left-hand side of that small scallop rectangle, and then I'm going to add this to an A2 size white card base. So I hope you liked my cards today. I would love for you to leave me a comment and let me know which card is your favorite. And if you did like this video, please click that thumbs up button to give it a like. And if you like videos like this, please click that subscribe button. Turn on your bell notifications so that you'll be notified every time I release a new video. And once again, if you're interested in finding out more information about the Stamps of Life clubs, please check out my affiliate link in the description box of this YouTube video or on my blog at lisamearsdesigns.com. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.